Hi everyone, I'm Lenny Pinna,
And I'm Bonnie Diczhazy.
and together we are
Ecclesia
Arts. I know I want to acknowledge that I've been away from the channel for a couple of months, and that's primarily because of the Bell's palsy, which inhibits in certain ways. But actually, the other really main reason is that I have done work on the channel, but just not publicly. For those of you who know about the TV series In the Name of Jamie Wakefield, Too Pretty for a Boy, you know that I put on a pilot and episodes 2 and 3, and they're available to the public. We then invited a group of people who ever watched 1, 2, and 3 and wanted to journey further and know the entire story. I continued to put on the episodes privately, 4, 5, and 6. And actually, I am one part away from the final episode. Actually, it's going to be the final conclusion of the entire series very soon. And so I thought this would be an opportunity to let you know that that has happened. Unseen to the public, but definitely part of the channel, should anybody else be interested. So here we are.
Here we are. So in addition to filming for the past 2 months, episodes 4, 5, and 6, Lenny actually, going to show this, was honored in Johnstown magazine right here as favorite local writer and author in his hometown. So that was, you didn't even know about this. It just kind of popped up.
and for those of you who don't know, can I get it?
Yeah, the book's right there.
Yeah, for those who don't, the reason for that is what the series is based on is the book I published. A Face from Uranus, correspondence between Tedd Burr and Henry Bellamann, 1943 to 1945. And what's really interesting is that this person right here was born on July 26, 1924, which means this July 26th would have been Tedd's 100th birthday, or what we're calling the TeddCentenial.
And we just put out a press release about that. So, we wanted to talk about that journey. So that was another thing that Lenny has been up to. So he's been actually really busy for the past 2 months working on all of these episodes. So what kind of transpired after Lenny publicly posted episode 3 was that anyone, and we widely publicized this on my channel, on Lenny's channel, if you'd emailed us, you could get a private link to starting with episode 4.
Correct.
And we had a group of people who very eagerly signed up to do this, and they've been leaving a lot of very, very poignant, interesting, thoughtful comments on Lenny's work, which is actually in a lot of ways helped him.
Very helpful to confirm what's working, to have discussions about certain themes. It's been a joy to have that interaction with an audience step by step by step as it's going along.
Yes.
This way I'm understanding what people are thinking at a certain point, rather than waiting till the very end to find out what were they thinking. I'm actually getting it in real time every 15, 20 minutes of the series.
Exactly.
And that's been really exciting for me.
So if you're just joining us and you're thinking, what is Ecclesia Arts? What is in the name of Jamie Wakefield? What is this whole project about? Can you just give us a little bit of a, summary of the entire project?
Sure. I also say, for additional, we have the presentation, Uranus 3.
That was filmed 1 year ago.
Unbelievable. Which does comprehensively tell you the whole story.
It's a very complex story.
But the gist of it is I made a film about the 76-year-old Tedd Burr, who was this person. And during that filming, this was in the year 2000, during that filming, I discovered that he had struggled with gender confusion looking like this in 1943 in Bellevue, Ohio. And coincidentally, he saw a film and then read a novel by Henry Bellamann called King's Row, and it had a character, Jamie Wakefield, Too Pretty for a Boy, was how the character was described. And Tedd so identified with that character and was struggling so much with life that he wrote to that author. And so for 2 years until the author's death, they corresponded. And that's what I published, was their original letters that Tedd bequeathed to me to publish and to secondarily make either a film or TV series. And so that the book has been published, and the series now was written and is now on YouTube.
Yes.
So this, all of it's coming to fruition after 24 years, because I started in the year 2000.
And what's interesting, so back in September, Lenny kind of debated whether or not to do a reading of the pilot or to have actors acting it out, which we realized was going to be way too big of a production, too costly. So what we did was Lenny actually performed all of the characters in his living room, and he created a pilot for the series. So the first episode 1, the pilot, is a little bit different than the rest of the production.
Yes, I tried to enhance the dramatic narrative by playing all the characters fully with costume and improvised settings and things like that. The main idea is to give people a better understanding of the story's through line, and also to inspire, hopefully, eventual producers to look at it and think, we would like to produce that piece, that pilot, in the actual period of 1943 with the sets and costumes and all the actors.
So you do get a really good idea of character development within that pilot. However, when you go to episode 2, what happened organically was, what we realized is that the dramatic reading actually works.
Yes.
And you were able to do episodes 2 and 3, which are publicly on YouTube right now. So if you're interested, watch the pilot, watch episode 2, watch episode 3. If you want to go further, what you're going to do is email us. I will put the email below, and we can give you access to the additional links. And you did have a reason for not publicly putting episodes 4, 5, and 6 on.
And it's mainly because our ultimate goal, is to have this series fully produced, with period, with great actors, costumes, the whole bit. And so we didn't want to imprint on the material things that would get people in a certain direction that producers would have to kind of like wedge them away. The idea is we want producers to know that they have the freedom to, when they see this material, to bring it to life.
Yes.
And so we thought, well, we want to get people interested, but we also want people who really are invested in the story. If they're invested, they can go forward and know the whole story. But we just didn't want it publicly out there so that people would watch it willy-nilly and not even really get the story.
Exactly.
And so the idea is, this is a really complex but very intimate story, and we want it to be done well and right. And so I want people to really get invested from the very beginning and follow it through.
Exactly. We also knew that when you ended episode 3, because there was thought, like, should we just end at 3? So many people, I mean, they wanted to know what happened.
Right.
I mean,
they were now, which is a good thing. They were now hooked.
Yes, they were hooked.
Hooked and wanted to know what was going to happen next.
Exactly.
So, and we did want to provide that, but we just didn't want to do it in a whole public forum. Exactly. We wanted to do it saying, it's almost like graduate students who are really, really interested in something. That's who this is for. The 4, 5, and 6 is for those who say we really went through those first 3 and are so involved, we want to go on the journey.
And what was interesting is once we had this group of people together commenting, and sometimes it's easier to comment when you're not in a fully public forum to be able to just express yourself, which is nice. So then what we decided to do was we actually did a live with this group of people to get their thoughts and feelings on what was happening as the series progressed.
Yes. Yeah, we did that after we put 4 and 5,
yes,
right?
I believe
so.
So
after 4 and 5, everybody was already starting to even comment on each other's comments. We thought, it'd be nice to actually have a rounded discussion.
Yes.
So we did that, and we also hoping now, when I finish it very soon, we're going to have a comprehensive live for the group who's already been through it to talk about it as a whole series.
Exactly.
And that will be available, to anybody that takes the series again in the future.
And what's interesting is this has actually been an interesting journey for Lenny. I know personally when he started 4 to now coming to the end, because he literally has one more episode to film in 6. It's episode 3 of
part 3 of episode 6,
3, yes.
which is the final episode
yes.
of the entire series.
Yes, so it's going to be an interesting moment to have it all.
So imagine, I lived with this story for 23 years, and in this last year, little by little by little by little, the story is finally going to be known by more people than myself.
Yes.
And that feels so good, because the whole goal was to bring this person's story to life, to visibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels so good that I'm releasing it from just knowing it myself to other people knowing, and to hear what people are really thinking and feeling about Tedd Burr.
Exactly.
It feels so wonderful that they are falling in love with this character, and to know his life was not for naught. And
a lot of people that, I've seen comments just on my channel and stuff, were kind of asking, okay, I read the book. Is the book, is the TV series just the book? No, it's a lot more.
Right. That's a really good point.
Yes.
So it was letters between these two, and you can kind of basically get the story between them. But what you don't get in the book is that the author, Henry Bellamann, had a full life. He had a wife, Catherine Bellamann. He had a career in New York City, and he was a famous author, which was very interesting that this famous author was corresponding with this young 19 to 21-year-old boy,
doing World War II.
Androgynous figure, really. We called him a boy, but that's what this is about, is Tedd felt he was not a boy. He felt he was a girl. But in 1943 to 1945, they were discussing this and exploring this between them. And so that's interesting. But what was also interesting is what was going on in Henry's life that allowed this to happen, and how he was so involved with Tedd. What was it about? And that's where I did a lot of research into his life and history and his works.
Yeah, you went down south.
And I went thank you for saying. I went to, well, 2 things. The first thing is I found a professor who did his dissertation on the life and works of Henry Bellamann, and that's Harry Bain, who lives in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I visited Harry after discussions, and he filled me with such information. But he also led me to where he did his research, and that was the University of Mississippi Archives. That's where Henry and Catherine Bellamann's papers and all their work is contained, held. And so I went there twice myself to do research in order to fully understand their characters. And at the same time, I was also looking for a place to house the original letters of this book that had been bequeathed to me, and they were in such pristine condition that I knew I wanted them to be in an archival house.
Yes. Well,
it made perfect sense. I talked with the staff at the University of Mississippi Archives, and they agreed that we could put Tedd and Henry's letters in their own little collection to supplement the Henry and Catherine Bellamann collection.
Exactly.
So all of it now exists there in its original form.
So the book, the letters, I mean, this is a true story between these two men. But then what you did with the TV series is you then came in with your writing skills and wrote an interpretation of.
Yes, because, okay, so the primary, what would you call it? It could have been an obstacle, but for me, you know how there's an irritation that causes a pearl? That's what happened in this book, or these letters. The two of them never met, almost, but never met in person. And so I was able to bring my theatrical and dramaturgical background to the story, and it worked beautifully because each of these two characters were also involved in the arts, and Tedd in particular as an actor and a dancer and a novelist, and Henry as a novelist, his wife as a voice singing teacher for Broadway actors. Bringing a theatrical imagination to bring them together repeatedly throughout the series both makes it feel really real and alive, and at the same time, it's a really unconventional approach. And so that's what I was able to bring to it, because I knew Tedd really well throughout his life. And then I learned a lot about Henry and Catherine in research. And I was able to create a whole world in which they existed. And I'm excited. And those who have talked, and those who have taken the journey have told us that it works.
Yes.
That you actually feel that Tedd and Henry are basically in a communicating relationship in real time, even in real situations, because of how it was structured.
And you added so much historical elements to this. You really did. I mean, there's the small town of Bellevue, Ohio. There's Cleveland, industrial Cleveland.
Yeah, steel mills during World War II.
During World War II. Yes. There's elements of, the fear of being drafted.
Yes.
There are elements of high art in New York City.
Yes, Henry and Catherine were part of the more cultural elite of New York. They lived at the Ansonia Hotel. And so they were around people such as Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz. She actually taught Desi Arnaz gave voice lessons. And so these characters, Sarah Bernhardt, poets of the time, composers of the time, conductors of the time, because they go to all these different shows, you get to learn about artists, composers, singers throughout the period.
So there's small town, there's New York City, there's Cleveland, and then there's another element that you actually created, which was this other character that brings a whole other element to the series, and this character's name is Albert.
Yes. Well, here's the thing: is I didn't create Albert as a character.
You did. That's right.
I
keep forgetting that.
Albert, a childhood friend of Henry's, existed, and he was the model for Jamie Wakefield, the character in the book King's Row. I was able to utilize Albert in the series as a character to bring out the entire drama.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So
I keep.
Yeah. Well, when we were talking about them as characters, we talk, But the fact is, Albert Berghauser existed, and so you get to learn about somebody else that actually influenced this entire project as well.
Yeah.
So it feels really good to connect them all.
Yes, and in addition to these main characters, there's also a lot of minor characters. There's Tedd's mother.
The family,
The family. There's a woman named Joan.
You think Joan was incidental in a way. She was just a figure in the town who dressed very expressively and was kind of looked down upon and ostracized for her eccentricity, so to speak. But she had an impact on this on this town.
I know. So what's interesting is you've taken 24, 25 plus characters and created this 6-part series, and you really, it's very in-depth, and there's a lot going on.
The most important part of it is, because it's 80 to 100 years old in where the characters are set, the themes are now.
Yes.
The story could not be told until now.
Exactly.
People would not have been ready to hear about gender identity confusion 20 years ago.
No.
So I had to wait actually a while to even put this story out, even though it actually took place in 1943.
Yes.
We as a society were just not ready. And some of us still aren't ready, but a lot of us are, and it would be a great experience for people to really have these issues illuminated
Exactly.
by encountering Tedd.
And what's interesting is I find it like kind of poignant that you're finishing the series during Pride Month.
Yes, because it definitely is a part of the LGBT canon, this series and this book.
However, it's also a human story.
It's universal. That's what we heard also from people who've taken the journey, is that they can relate to these characters even though it's not specifically their story.
Exactly.
Because it's about the human experience that happens within it.
So you've got one more task left. The last episode.
The part 3
yes.
of episode 6, which is the finale
yes.
of the entire series.
Yes.
That's all I have left to do.
Yes.
Yes.
And you're probably going to be doing that in the next couple weeks, or
I'm hoping within a week.
Within a week.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yes.
I can't wait to see it. I've actually, as I've been watching, I read the script last summer, and you kind of lose like the bits and pieces and stuff, and I have been so enthralled by watching each episode along with all of you. So it's been a joy for me too. So if you are interested in experiencing the story In the Name of Jamie Wakefield, Too Pretty for a Boy is what the series is called.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend watching the pilot, episode 2, episode 3.
Yes.
And then when you're finished with that, if you want to continue, you can email us. I'll put the email below, and then we will send you a private link to the episodes 4, 5, and 6, and you can continue the story.
Yes. And I will be equally as excited by any comments you make during those periods of time, and I'll enter in discussion with you as well.
Exactly.
So,
and there's no timeline for you to do this.
No, that's why it's there now.
Yes, exactly.
Binge as you like.
You can binge, or you can do it weekly.
Or take a bite size. Either take little bites or binge.
Exactly. You can watch it all in one night. Or if you take 8 weeks to watch,
it's fine.
We'll be here.
Yes, we'll be here for you.
Exactly. Well, this is fun. I am glad that you did a video today.
Me too.
You're back.
Me too. It's been great to actually talk to all of you right
Yes.
now again, because I was so focused on just the private part. But
exactly.
Anyway, back out here to talk to you, and we wanted to give you an update on what's going on.
Yes. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you guys soon.
Yes. Take care now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.